Isabelle Tremont waits for you here, atop one of Sharn's lofty towers. She can help you contact Lucien Vaughn. Isabelle tells you to take the elevator up to the terrace, then speak to Lucien Vaughn. Her employer wants to pass along some information about the Stormreach beacon. You enter the boarding house, an island of quiet in the hustle and bustle of the city. A genial halfling nods to you from behind the front desk. A violent explosion shatters the tranquility of the boarding house and reduces the elevator to a smoking ruin. You'll have to find another way up. The windows shatter, and agile forms swarm in from sky coaches outside. The boarding house is under an all-out attack. This looks more like a boarding house. Vaughn has rented this entire operation and transformed it into his place of business. The way up to the terrace is just one final group of explosion boxes now. You hear a piercing call from the direction of the terrace. The beast descends the ramp, one unlike any before. Seems to have ended. Now to head to the terrace and learn what became of Lucien Vaughn. The figure on the sky coach ahead matches the description of Lucien Vaughn. He seems unruffled by the attack.
I have a message for you,
says Vaughn.
The beacon belongs to me now. Paid the Vormar clan good money to get it, after all. Don't think for a moment that you can challenge me in my city. You're just setting yourself up for a fall.
Vaughn's companion makes a gesture and the terrace collapses beneath you.
After making your way into the ancient goblin ruins, you find yourself in a dark chamber. Creatures loyal to Dask are stirring up trouble in these ancient hobgoblin ruins. Perhaps, if you gave them a gentle thrashing, it might teach them a lesson. Dask goblins are hard at work repairing the room. When they notice you, they immediately attack. More Dask grunts are gathered inside this spacious chamber, rigging explosives to a large heap of bolts. The last Dask thug crumbles at your feet. Now you have a chance to find out more about the strange artifact that they were trying to unearth. You pull the lever, triggering an explosion that flattens the remaining debris as the roar of the blast dies away. You hear a familiar voice coming from the platform above you. Is that Malik the gnome? Malik calls to you from the platform.
Thank you for clearing out the Dask for me. It was a great help. Those fools had no idea what they were dealing with.
The friendly gnome transforms before your eyes. Rakshasa.
Soon, my name will be known across Corvair.
The malevolent. The portal opens, and fiends flood into the ruin. Now this portal to Kyber is mine. Demons, do my bidding. The Rakshasa lets out a shrill gasp, surprised that you managed to best him in combat. This can't be. The world must remember my name. The ornate artifact shatters. The portal dissipates, and the remaining demons are thrown back into the depths of Kyber. One demon falls. But wait, another streams out of the portal in its place.
You appear underwater, encased in a magical bubble of air. A warforged waves you over. No doubt she's one of the crew sent to salvage the ship's cargo. The foreman says that dangerous creatures threaten their salvage operation. You'd be doing them a favor if you clear out the local wildlife. Containers salvaged from the sunken ships surround the entrance to this underwater cave, but none have Vaunt's mark on them. The Sahuagin must have taken Vaunt's cargo inside the cave. You step out of the water and into cool cave air. It seems that the Sahuagin have created some sort of magical barrier to keep the ocean at bay. A Sahuagin standing atop a rock high above sounds the alarm. Fools, you've made enemies of the Dagamore, he croaks. Rushing into the caves. Was fierce, but you've survived it. A Sahuagin stands before a vast portal, which allows ships to come and go while hiding from prying eyes. Dead, the pirates will no longer be search is finally over. I know that thugs owns cargo.
Get them, cries the gnome. I don't know what this junk does, but people back in Sharn are paying us plenty to steal it.
With the pirates out of the way, you can finally take a look at Vaughn's cargo. You've recovered Vaughn's mysterious shipment at long last. It must be very valuable to have drawn such attention, whatever it is.
You step into Zelith Prospire's tidy office. Zelith pulls a switch and nods toward the back of the building. You hear the scrape of stone on stone as the concealed back door slides open. You walk out into the streets of Cogsgate. Towers loom high above, so tall they block out the night sky. Anyone who knows what's good for them will stay indoors tonight. The rain of blood has fallen here, and it's up to you. Despite the slurred words, you've learned more about the Dask-Boromor rivalry from the poor man. You wonder what the other residents of the neighborhood might have to say. You push open the door to the apartment. The surprisingly well-decorated rooms show signs of a struggle. Your stomach clenches in anticipation as you near the crime scene. Felon must have spent his recent winnings digging himself out of debt. Imagine meeting your end right after getting yourself clear. At least he died in the black. After examining the corpse, you can see that he was killed by a poisoned crossbow bolt. His last gambling ticket lies just out of reach. Felon just won big, cleaning up on a match in an underground fighting ring down in the Cogs. Despite clear attempts to make this decision, all of Felon's valuables are still in their separate places. As you mull this over, you hear voices from the direction of the front door. You manage to make it past the Dask thugs blocking your way. The Dask thugs let you pass, thanks to your quick tongue and winning personality. The doors to the gambling hall are wide open and its chairs are empty, though the nearby tables are still covered with food and drink. Looks like the customers left in a hurry. A chest full of coins was left here locked and untouched. This was no robbery. You can tell that there's more to this than meets the eye. You find a crossbow bolt still lodged in the victim's side. You also notice several gashes on her palms. The incriminating information in this ledger would fetch a pretty price on the black market. You wonder why the murderer would leave it behind. Searching the gambling hall raised more questions about the murders than answers. As you turn to leave, you hear figures clamoring outside the building. You strike down the last of this group of Dask thugs and check to make sure to leave the way you can. You've learned all you can about these first two crimes. You head back to the Wolf Gate, where Zelith awaits your results. Zelith unlocks the gate, revealing a small lane that burrows deeper into the heart of Cog's Gate. The door to the pawn shop is unlocked, just as with the other crime scenes. Inside, the shopkeeper's body lies forgotten alongside all the other cast-offs of her shop. Different body, but the same song. A crossbow bolt dipped in poison and a palm covered in slashes. Yet this time a new detail catches your eye. A shattered pin bearing Vaunt Arcanotechnic's symbol. A closer look at the keg reveals a hidden compartment filled with smuggled goods. Some small packages lie in the cauldron. No doubt they were hidden there so they could be fenced on the black market later. The murderer could have emptied the pawn shop, and yet only Mord's life was taken. What connects all these gruesome crimes? The last of the heavily armed halfling thugs falls. Another alley stretches before you. The more you learn about the victims, the more questions you have. You can only hope that Zulkus Crowspire holds the answers you've been seeking. A tiefling stands before you, with a face you remember from your recent adventures. Despite your own shock at meeting him again, you hope that Zulkus is willing to answer your questions. Zulkus steps through a dimension door, his face glowing with the smug triumph of a man who thinks he's won, but you're too busy dealing with his troll bodyguard to notice. The troll topples, yet another casualty of this bloody night. Now, to meet up with Zelith. Zelith shakes her head, the weight of her brother's betrayal settling over her like the dirt that falls on the streets from above. But you've got a job to finish. Another crime scene waits for you in an alley to the south. The secret door slides open, revealing a Medusa. Oddly enough, she doesn't seem surprised to see you. Instead, she knows for you to enter. More slashes on the palm, and this time you see the pattern. You wonder how you could have missed such an important clue. The slashes were literally the killer's signature. Whoever did this wasn't shy about letting people know. You stoop down to search the contents of Naram's pack. Looks like he was fleeing for his life when the murderer got to him. You find a security ledger embossed with a damp arcanotechnic symbol. A quick glance reveals that every victim had worked for Vaughn. It's too big of a coincidence to overlook, especially since a note in the margin talked about cleaning up loose ends. That ledger told you what you needed to know. The victims all worked for Vaughn and were killed because they knew you strike down the last of the attackers. Can't let these papers not when they're so close. You catch up with Zealot, pull her in on the clues you found. Sometimes she told you an alleyway northwest of where the goblin was last seen. A familiar voice echoes from behind this door.
What part of make it look like an accident didn't you understand? And leaving your signature behind was beyond stupid. Now Zelith is onto us. It's only a matter of time before she and those adventurers come barging in here.
Zulkus quickly casts a dimension door. The tiefling and the goblin disappear
corrupts,
through it.
But absolute power sure tastes sweet, doesn't it?
This adventure, like so many others, begins in a tavern. You're supposed to meet a disgruntled vault employee here. He'll give you an off-the-record tour of the nearby warehouse. Victor asked you to wait for him outside. Looks like getting inside his warehouse won't be a problem. Victor leans over and whispers,
I don't want to lose my job. If you'll just follow me, I'll cough when it's time for us to part ways. What you do after that is none of my business.
He sounds quite nervous. Victor coughs and nods at a flimsy-looking grate. Then he hurries away, disappearing into the night. That must be your way inside. Time for you to investigate the warehouse. According to this legend, all of the blueprints have been moved to the office upstairs for shredding. You need to get in there. You hear a scream of pain from up above. A scream cut short with steel. You hear a gruff voice howling.
The roof! The roof!
A more measured voice responds. What of it? The excited Noel bounces around.
The roof is on fire!
An otherworldly air of confidence surrounds the handsome being, who appears to be their leader. Let's pick up the pace, shall we? We still have to destroy the lab downstairs. Portal, please. Portal! Now! Snaps the being in a commanding tone. You hear a familiar voice somewhere nearby. It's Victor, acting surprised.
Oh, what's all this? Dear Orient, we have a security breach! Quickly! Find them! You can't touch me! This is what I call underdog! Make me completely invincible!
Victor presses the button, and the sphere of force closes in.
You think you're clever, but you're nowhere near as clever as Bolt! His resources are virtually infinite. I press this button, and more guards show up. Just like that. Wait, now how do I get out? I'm stuck here.
Victor clearly didn't think this through.
I have it. I'll just teleport away.
Victor tries to do just that. It seems Victor forgot about the dimensional anchor he put in place. He's going. A familiar voice calls out up ahead. Oh, no, we'll have to finish this. Time to move, people.
Fire? Nobody goes in or out until we find them. Don't just stare there gawking. Move!
You hear the ominous hum of a dimensional anchor. Victor directs more guards your way.
They went downstairs! It's a secret lab! After them!
As this chant continues, forge wraiths coalesce in the air around Victor. Panic screams and pounding feet indicate rapid losses. Victor yells,
Get back here, you cowards! These fruits aren't going to launch themselves! Don't do anything rash. I'm coming out. Perhaps we can make a deal.
Victor presses the button on his own prototype. The magical barrier around him fades away.
You've arrived at Club Hall, a popular night spot owned by the Boardwalks. Counselor Sevilla Patella pulled some strings to get you on the guest list. Perhaps now you can drive a wedge between the Boromar and Bond. But it looks like there may be trouble before you even get inside the door. The group of thugs suddenly attacks. Clearly, they want to prevent you from enjoying a night on the town. Those Dusk thugs were loitering near Club Clawfoot. But this is Boromar clan territory. Something's brewing, and you're smack in the middle of it. A group of would-be patrons lingers in the courtyard. They must not be on the guest list. The bouncer opens the front door, allowing you to enter Club Clawfoot. The Dusk thugs lurking outside have set the assistant's nerves on edge. He wants you to check on Club Clawfoot's employees before he'll let you talk to the manager. The employees report nothing terribly unusual. You can tell Fenwick that all is quiet in the nightclub. Fenwick is relieved to hear that the club is safe and secure. He gives you permission to approach Regina. A piercing alarm reverberates throughout the night. Regina turns to you and cries, "The alarm! Someone's breaching our magical wards! It must be an attack! Quick, adventurers! Do what you do best!" More dimension doors have opened nearby. But pitch-perfect scream rings throughout the nightclub. It's encore. The main stage must be under attack. Gargoyle cackles and laughs. Dollars will crush you. Dusk. Forever. More attacks are on the way. But for now, you have a moment to rest. You notice a sign on the door. Rat infestation. Exterminators have already been contacted. Do not open. The magical alarm triggers once again. Dusk's attack on the nightclub has resumed. more dimension doors have opened nearby. Once again, harsh sounds issue from the direction of the stage. You hear panic shouts, screams, and snakes. The attack is finally over. Water descends over the nightclub once more. Now you can finally talk to Regina. For your help in keeping her and Encore alive, Regina has promised to do everything she can to cut ties between the Boromar clan and Vaunt Arcanotechnic.
You arrive in Dava Gate, one of Sharn's many business districts. The streets are almost deserted at this hour. A lone figure stands idly on the platform next to a sky barge.
About time you got here.
Grumbles the old man.
They've already started. Get on board quick like and I'll ferry you up to their window.
Mr. Vaught,
Remember,
I assume
stay
this is
quiet
about your
as a
request to
mouse.
join the Platinum Concord, which was turned down due to your lack of subtlety, shall we say? Yes, well, I prefer audacity to subtlety. I admit that subtlety has allowed the Aurum to do as they please with the Five Nations for many years. But what I have to offer your organization cannot be ignored. What cannot be ignored are those Zendrick bloodhounds sniffing at your heels. You're exposed, Mr. Vaught. Not for long, my friend. Allow me to demonstrate. Isabeth, please come in. Now, Isabeth, I know you invited our mutual friends from Stormridge. No, don't cry. I said, don't cry. That's better. This is just business, Isabeth. Just business. I'd prefer that you do your house cleaning when I am not present, Mr. Vaught. A necessary demonstration of my device. I wanted you to see my improvements firsthand. Not quite dead yet. A calibration issue, perhaps. No matter. Urk, Gesh, take Isabeth outside. We will adjourn to the yacht. It's time for the next act to begin.
Vaught's henchman releases a strange whooping bark, and the darkness around you erupts with a choir of menacing responses.
An ambush! Damn us for fools!
Shouts Casper. The old man produces a bow from somewhere as giggling shapes descend from above. You've dispatched Vaught's first group of assassins, but they're surely not the last. Vaught doesn't go in for half measures. Casper wheezes out his words.
Ooh, reminds me of my days in the last war, but with more chest pain. Too old for this for sure. Come here, we gotta talk about Isabeth. She's still alive. I bet my life on it.
You've agreed to help rescue Isabeth. To do that, you'll need to clear the way so Casper can follow safely. He says to head to the southeast, grabbing a source light first.
Don't forget!
Shouts Casper.
Those source leads can't go too high or too low without losing their enchantment. Keep above the fog and don't try to push over the higher walls and you'll be fine.
A wave of mole mercenaries bursts from the shadows.
Show those brutes they can't match my...
Cries Casper from below you. motley crew of creatures takes up position on the bridge, spoiling for a fight. The low bellow of an ogre accompanies the shrill cries of goblins. A strange-looking goblin glides up above the bridge. The limp form of Isabet lies on the source ledge. The goblin shouts abuse at his escort.
Gives me mincemeat out of your fleabag knolls. I told you the direct approach wasn't gonna work. I'm gonna go bait the hook on my plan. Wake up, mate. On set to work together as a pack.
The knock snarls as he runs after his retreating comrade. A mob of gnolls and goblins have taken up positions atop a nearby wine shop. You'll need to clear them out for Casper to pass safely. In the distance, you hear the gnoll snarl.
Can I look weak? No. Those who look weak die first. Always.
It's the stupid who die first, dimwit.
Replies the goblin.
Let my flying pets soften them up. Now move before the fireworks start.
One ambush down, but more to come, I'd wager.
Shouts Casper.
Head north, friends. Up the skyway. I'll watch your back.
A swarm of bats clouds the street before you. Some kind of metal glints on their bodies as they flit about, blocking your path. The door of a nearby bookshop opens, and another cloud of bats streams out. Inside the bookstore, goblins scramble to release one last clutch of bats from their cages.
Exploding bats? Gods, what a circus! Who's going to explain this mess to the city watch come the morning?
Mutters Casper as he coasts along behind you. Shadows move among the arches of a nearby market. Monk's mercenaries await your attention there. Air skiff equipped with a mage fire cannon waits for you at your old Alchemist tower. Storm over the tower itself. From behind.
A mage fire cannon! Must have been holding that in reserve. Those things are expensive. On we go.
A mighty defender prowls the storage room. Once you get rid of it, this may prove to be a good place to catch your breath. Sky skiffs descend, and a supporting patrol of gnolls moves to block your path. Is there any end to Vaunt's mercenary army? Gasps in surprise as he reaches the wreckage of the mage fire cannons.
3 of them! Now I feel like an idiot. Thank the host you were here.
This city watch station is locked up tight and stands as silent as the grave. Is it unmanned? Or have the guards inside been given a reason to sit this one out? tells you.
Your source leads might suddenly stop working out here. Be careful.
The mercenary Gish stands here, his jaws frothing.
The goblin says you're strong, but he's just a weakling. Enough waiting! I'll butcher you now! Feast on your flesh and keep all the glory for myself!
He's hidden somewhere in the shadows of the nearby construction site.
You should have stuck with my plan, Fleabag.
You're my next meal, goblin meat. Right after these outlanders.
Gish charges to the attack. Gish collapses from his wounds. Before you can finish him off, a chanting voice calls your attention to the north and above. A tiefling sorcerer completes his spell on a ledge above you. Gish vanishes, reappearing at the sorcerer's side. With another quick gesture, both the tiefling and the gnome vanish from your sight. The goblin's voice calls to you across the gap.
That went about how I expected, so that leaves just little old me. A great big bounty, no partner to split it with, and some nice payback on the side. I'm all ready for you, so come on over.
High above the construction yard, the source sled slowly drifts up. Elizabeth's body lies upon the sled, completely still. The goblin is nowhere to be seen.
Get him, lads!
The screams are heard as he tosses down the smoke bomb. The shrill voices of more goblins pierce the night air.
Fish in a barrel. Catch!
In a heap. Now that you have time to catch your breath, you notice the assassin source leg descending slowly, holding the limp form of Isabet. You've reached Isabet, but all is not well.
She's gone! Gone!
Says the goblin.
Bossman ate up her soul with his new improved vaunt. Why use your own when you can use someone else's? Sorry, sweethearts. Them's the breaks.
The goblin stands at the platform edge, an odd yet strangely familiar blade piercing his torso.
Remember this? Jack Jibber's blade? It's why we get to keep meeting like this.
followed the trail of red crystals deep into the ruins. The path opens up into a larger chamber, and the sound of voices drifts in from overhead. Harsh, disturbing chants can be heard through the sealed metal door. You pull the lever, and the mechanism that controls the door grinds into action. The voices grow louder as you round the corner, accompanied by the sound of massive machinery. Worshippers kneel before a makeshift altar. In their turn, voices offer their service to the avenging Forge and implore the creature to punish those who have wronged them. The High Priestess hits you. Intruders, no. You will not deny us our vengeance on the city above. The High Priestess seems strangely untroubled by her imminent death. My spirit will only make our master stronger. He cannot be evaded. He cannot be bargained with. Vengeance will be his. As the Forge Wraith falls, shocked voices cry out throughout the cavern. The cult is destroyed, and the city is now safe from their schemes. Yet this was not the only Forge Wraith. More still lurk in the cogs, driven by their never-ending thirst for vengeance.
In the distance, you hear the grinding of massive gears and heavy machinery. A man in a scarlet robe. This door's hinges are coated in rust. Prying it open could create enough noise to alert anyone guarding this place. Maybe there is a way to get inside without alarming the Boromar. The door is sealed shut with a heavy silver padlock. The key may be hidden somewhere, or perhaps you can find another way to proceed. You jangle the iron padlock, but the door remains tightly sealed. There's no way around it this time. You'll need a key. As you enter the room, you hear someone barking orders.
Intruder! Protect the special cargo, you penny hands! We'll make them pay for messing with the Boromar cash!
The leader of the smuggling operation falls to his knees, overcome. Now, to take care of the special cargo they were smuggling. The few remaining halflings scramble out of this room, screaming in panic. The Boromar are gone for good. But there are still Forge Wraiths to slay. The air grows warm around you as you enter this room. Forge Wraiths drift over the old machinery, growing louder as you approach. last of the special cargo crates is smashed into splinters. You enter a small fighting. Another group of lumbering brutes attacks the fighting pit. Muffled moans draw your attention to the south. Perhaps the source of the zombie invasion. A musty, humid draft creeps through the sewer pipes that the Red Musk zombies use. The source of the creatures must be nearby. You feel a chill. The draft seems to be coming from the western tunnel. The chill of the cavern grows warmer, more in air as you ascend higher. The familiar musty smell is stronger here. The source of the Red Musk zombies must be close. The room opens out to reveal what appears to be a makeshift temple, littered with the spores that create the Red Musk zombies. Galatrax has fallen. His creations no longer threaten global vitality. All of the spores responsible for creating these abominations have been destroyed.
Familiar sound reverberates throughout the sewer. The wet slither of slimes. Members of the Dark Gang found no sign of the scavenged arcane system. Follow the goblin that ran off. He may know its whereabouts. The floor collapses beneath the Dark Thief, and he falls into the depths of the trash system. The Dark Thief flees into the main trash disposal room. There's a blood-curdling shriek from beyond the door, followed by a deep rumbling that sounds strangely like this massive chamber is filled with refuse from the upper city. In the middle of the debris stands a grotesque, lumbering beast, trash-devouring. Unfortunately, the Otium topples to the trash-littered floor. The door to the west opens, and the gnome scavenger steps through. You've returned the missing arcane assistant to the gnome scavenger.
We heard shouts from outside. Everyone in the workshop rushed out, desperate to escape. Once we got outside, it was impossible to recognize anything. There was fire and wreckage everywhere. I was following my friend Aura at first, but I quickly lost her in all the smoke. I saw...
The foreman turns and opens the door. Railton's disappearance could only mean trouble. Please find her and figure out what's got the magma running cold while you're at it. For countless years, these sweltering caves have served as a comfortable home for the inhabitants. But whatever is happening to the magma has left the creatures enraged. A magma reaver stands among a throng of other beasts. He bellows in rage and attacks. The magma reaver dies, and the wall of flame created flickers out. A blast of chilly air sweeps in from the now. Entombed in a sheet of ice. No doubt the creatures you've encountered are the culprits. But how did those wintry monstrosities end up down here, among the blistering magma falls? The young apprentice falls to her knees, muttering her last words. This master of hers must be responsible for this supernaturally frozen cave. A gnome wizard stands before a humming, whirring arcano-mechanical device. The jets of air released by the contraption are cold enough to freeze even the hottest magma. The wizard turns toward you, startled.
Egad! How have you made it past? Not just my apprentice, but those Boromar thugs and my icy minions as well. Whew. Well then, it seems that I, Jabbers of Nago, must deal with you myself. Have at thee. You haven't seen the last of me,
Cackles the gnome as he teleports away. The wizard may have turned tail and run, but the whirring device continues to freeze the lava flow. You manage to disable the device, halting the flow of frosty air. You can feel warmth seeping back into the cave, a sign that things are returning to normal.
The explosion that destroyed Vaught's Forge seems to have left this area mostly untouched. A bloodstained note lies near a fresh corpse.
This area is now on security lockdown. Please be aware that this area is are authorized to take aggressive. Security barrier removed. Access granted. Welcome back, Mr. Vaught.
You've activated the Mage Fire Cannon. That should help protect the area. You've defeated all the 4 Wraiths in the room. The more can be seen lurking outside in the distance.
All power corrupts, but absolute power sure tastes sweet, doesn't it?